Yo, what up? Long time no see. It's your boy, Brother
At the
Phil.
light, use the left lane to turn left onto Barnsley Road.
Sorry, excuse my GPS. Your boy, Brother Phil, soul of a nerd here. Jumping on here, basically calling this a pre-game pep talk / thoughts preview. Today I'm gonna be going to see Marvel Studios Thunderbolts, which just released yesterday, May the 2nd. Today is the 3rd. So here's the deal. Give you a little background on my thoughts heading into the movie, and then I'll give you reactions when I'm done.
In 800 feet, turn left onto Warrensville Center Road.
When the movie was announced some years ago, didn't really care. I was fine with it.
At the light,
You know,
turn left onto Warrensville Center Road.
I don't know anything about Thunderbolts from comics, but what I gathered was that it's like a little misfit ragtag group
Continue for 5 miles.
of characters in the comics that are more like villains. Baron Zemo is, I guess, in some version the leader of them. At the time I was thinking, oh, that could be cool, because I do love that character, especially when he popped up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So yeah, I guess that movie was announced probably after that, so maybe in 2022. And immediately I'm thinking, okay, that's probably a movie where they can use Baron Zemo, Yelena, some of the other villains. Then they started naming who the characters that were going to be in it, such as Red Guardian, Yelena, of course, bringing back Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Taskmaster from the Black Widow movie. So you kind of have 3 characters from the Black Widow movie. I didn't even think about that. It's almost like a Black Widow sequel. Kind of like Captain America Brave New World felt like an Incredible Hulk sequel. And then using John Walker, aka Walmart Captain America, I've heard him called. So I was like, okay, it's an interesting group of people. I mean, I liked Red Guardian a lot in Black Widow, loved Yelena in Black Widow. Taskmaster, nothing special, and nothing really special about Ghost was cool, again, I didn't have a high feeling one way or the other about that character. And John Walker was a pretty impactful character for the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. But none of these characters are somebody I really was interested in seeing in a movie per se. You know what I mean? Maybe pop up again in some small roles. But Yelena's like the only one, to be honest, that I really thought that way about. And of course, then Bucky's announcement to be in the movie. Okay, now that's different. That's a guy you definitely continue to love to see. Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. And then he's pretty complex, layered. He's got a interesting character arc and things. The more I thought about having Red Guardian back, that would be cool. Again, Ghost, the Taskmaster, those are characters I never needed to see again. And the absence of Baron Zemo was kind of disappointing. Again, not from I'm a comic head and I want to see the way they did in the comics. I'm just saying, dang, if you were gonna make a movie if it is based on something where Baron Zemo is involved, bring that dude back, because what they did, the MCU version of him, I'll put it like that, is very likable for me. So from that point, it gets slotted in phase 6. Are we in phase 6? I done forgot. As a movie that's going to come out somewhere around within the same year as Falcon and Winter Soldier, Fantastic Four, not Falcon and Winter Soldier, Captain America Brave New World, Fantastic Four, Blade, you know, so you're thinking about these movies being grouped together in that kind of sequence as part of whatever phase this is. I lost track. I guess this is 6, yeah. Even Ant-Man and the Wasp, well, that's phase 5. So when I don't know if they had determined back then which was phase 5 and which was 6, but I'm just saying those were the movies for like 2024 and beyond. And I mean 2023 and beyond, because let's not forget, these movies were originally slated to be out in 2024. I saw somebody post the other day that earlier today or yesterday, Avengers Kang Dynasty was originally going to be out this year, like this weekend. But they pushed the whole 2024 slate clean and just left it as Deadpool and Wolverine. So that's what I'm saying. You were originally going to have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania in 2023, Guardians in 2023, and I believe Blade should have been out in 2023, considering it was announced in 2019. You see what I'm saying? Something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts and maybe Blade getting pushed back, and maybe one other movie or something was supposed to be out in 2024 last year. And then I believe Fantastic Four was always going to be like 2025, if I'm not mistaken, you know. So now we just have all this, it's been so rearranged. So as time went on, you know, again, it was my point in mentioning all that is just I was even less, so to speak, interested, because again, you're talking about a Blade movie, even Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, you know what I'm saying, Guardians 3 and Captain America Brave New World were all movies I was way more interested in than Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four as well, even though, like I said, I think I knew it was always going to be Fantastic Four was going to come after Thunderbolts. You know, and it quietly was shot and finished and all that stuff, so not a lot of hoopla around it because there was so much going on, kind of turmoilish when it comes to the MCU in 2024. You know, they had to get rid of Jonathan wouldn't have to, but you know, they got rid of Jonathan Majors. They revamped the idea of what they were going to do for the next Avengers movie. They again pushed movies. They had to do a massive reshoots on Daredevil and Captain America Brave New World, which again pushed those projects into 2025. And so, you know, it was just all the while, you know, Thunderbolts was shot and finished and no issues. So here it comes where it's time. So you know, then I'm here learning more about the character of Sentry is going to be involved. And again, I'm not a comic nerd into the extent of knowing what that means, the significance of Sentry. But things I heard about, it's like, okay, this is a Superman-like character, so on and so forth. Then the trailers come, so on and so forth. And I like the trailers. They don't really give me a whole lot one way or the other, just indifferent. It's like they look fine, and let's go, you know. But at this point with the MCU, almost with every movie, I mean, I'm walking in really not that confident, just being honest. Fantastic Four, again, same concept that I'm just touched on, out of that slate of movies, especially after the disappointment of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, you know. Other than that, Blade would have been the other movie I had hope in, and Fantastic Four, and for whatever reason, not necessarily hope, but, you know, real high anticipation for. That being said, you know, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, disappointed. Blade is nowhere to be found. I was more hyped for Captain America Brave New World and had high expectations for that, and it didn't really live up to it. Well, it didn't live up to it at all. But my point with that is, it looks like Thunderbolts is going to give probably the level of quality, depth, action, good storyline that Captain America Brave New World should have, in my mind. That's what it looks like. It's getting better reviews and feedback and responses from people that I follow in the social media world and whatnot, and in the movie review discussion world. So that's a good thing. So that leads us to today. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, to this day, right now, I'm not excited. It looks like I'm probably going to enjoy this movie. I'm expecting to enjoy this movie more than Captain America 4. And that's not saying much, but it is. Because Captain America 4 was enjoyable. I didn't dislike it at all. It just, it was just okay. And this should be better than okay. Which at this point, I'm all right with that. I want good movies. I don't want any more okay movies. I want some good movies. I want some great movies. We can work our way back to great movies. You know what I'm saying? I have this feeling that Fantastic Four is going to be great. So if we can go from okay to good to great for these 3 movies that are coming out in 2025, that'll be okay. I'll be fine with that. I'll be happy. Well, not happy. I'll be satisfied with that. That's pretty much it. I don't have a lot of expectations at all. I mean, okay, well, here's some things I expect, but it doesn't matter. It's not an expectation it's not a significant expectation, but I do expect Taskmaster is going to die in this movie, because Taskmaster, she is not featured in much of the advertising at all, and they got to do something to create some drama, some stakes. She was kind of a throwaway character anyway, kind of a tragic character because of what her father, right, did to her to make her into this machine from Black Widow movie, which I really like Black Widow movie. I think it just came out, in my opinion, there's a lot that went against it. The movie was made 3-4 years too late. Should have been made in 2017. Yeah, or 2018 for that matter. They could have put out 4 movies that year. They could have did Black Panther, Black Widow, Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or 2017 would have been Guardians 2, Spider-Man, Homecoming, and Thor Ragnarok. You know what I mean? So that's when they should have put that movie out. I think it would have done way better in either one of those 2 years. The same movie, you know what I mean? It's just when you put that out in 2021 after COVID and after she died in Endgame, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, y'all. Here's an episode brought to you by Bang Energy Drink, sour rope flavor, very good. That'll help me stay up for this movie in case it's boring. I don't think that's gonna be an issue. That being said, oh boy. That being said, dang it. Well, let me find something to eat while I'm out here. Burger King. I need a Burger King. Anyway, maybe I'll edit this out. Whatever. This is raw, uncut. I expect that, and this is the thing. I'm trying to make this official, even though it's like, hey, the movie's already been out. You might have already heard spoilers. Trust me, I've heard no spoilers. I've heard none whatsoever. I've seen a couple moments where I could have, and I, quickly swipe past stuff. But I've felt this way for, I don't know, the last 6 months. And what I'm talking about is how the name Thunderbolts has the asterisk next to it. And there's been speculation, amongst the communities that I follow online and stuff about what does that mean. And I've felt this for a long time. So I'm making this official in this video, even though anyone could take this and say, hey, if I'm right, that is, they're gonna be like, ah, man, you're trying to say you knew this beforehand, but you're saying it after the movie that already came out. I promise you, I had this thought well before this movie came out, and I haven't heard any spoilers, and so I haven't seen the movie yet, and it just came out yesterday. I don't know anybody that saw it. I have no confirmation of this. I'm saying it. This is my belief, opinion, and speculation and belief. This is what's going to happen, and if I'm right, I'm right. I think the asterisk has meant the whole time. To me, it suggested that the name of the team was going to change, like it's a placeholder, Thunderbolts asterisk, because there's a question about it, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you put an asterisk next to stuff, special circumstances, right? And in the promotion, some of the trailers, they'd spend some time talking about showing scenes and them trying to give themselves a name. And I remember obviously Red Guardian's been mentioned several times. They show him saying Thunderbolts, that's our name or whatever. And Bucky one time said we can't go by that name or something like that. So my theory is they're gonna be called the Dark Avengers or the something Avengers, but I think it's gonna be Dark Avengers because the Dark Avengers in comics, again, I'm not no expert, I just found this out along the way, is another ragtag group of villains who become Avengers or something like that. Villains who become the Avengers, which is Norman Osborn, from what I understand, is their leader at some point. So I think they're gonna spin that. The MCU.
Turn right onto Williams Road.
The MCU likes to combine different different comic book storyline concepts into one. Thor Ragnarok was a mixture of the comic book version of Thor Ragnarok and the comic book version of Planet Hulk merged together, right? I'm trying to think of another one that's like that. Again, only because I've heard people say this. I don't know. I ain't no experts on none of this stuff. That being said,
In 800 feet, turn
yeah,
right
I
onto
think they're gonna do
Lawrenceville
a homage to the concept of the Dark Avengers, and I think by the time this movie's over, they're gonna be calling themselves the Dark Avengers. That's what I think, and that's why it's called asterisk Thunderbolts, because it'll be in the end of the movie when they always say Thor will return, Shang-Chi will return, Black Panther will return. When they've always done that, they're gonna say the Dark Avengers will return. You know what I mean? I promise you. I don't know why other people haven't said this, because it seems pretty obvious to me. And there you go. Those are only two things I have expectations on, and other than, like I said, that I'm gonna probably enjoy it. I have heard that it's a pretty, deep storyline, or has some deep aspects to it, and that the performances are really good, and the chemistry between the team is pretty good, which I can pick that up. I expect it to be even better than what the trailers show us, because they don't really show us a lot of Ghost or Taskmaster or even John Walker. It's a lot of Red Guardian, Yelena, a lot of Bucky. I expect what is her name? Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. I expect her to be kind of impressive more than we expect. Because she in her little glimpses in Black Widow and in Falcon and Winter Soldier, she this role is good for her. Like, she's a snarky, like, shady woman. It kind of works. Who would have thought Elaine from Seinfeld could pull that off? Then you have this character Sentry. I have no expectation of him, so I'm just looking to be impressed. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty dope. And there you go. There's apparently some implications for the wider MCU, supposedly 2 post-credit scenes, so I'm looking forward to seeing that too. And that's it, y'all. I'll see y'all when it's done. Hey, I made a 20-minute video. Congratulations to me. I'll see y'all after the movie. Peace.